morning we'll start in a lying down position. So we'll gently make our way down to our mat. Legs are long, arms are by our sides, palms facing up. And just bring your eyes to a gentle close. Take a moment here to arrive on your mat. Reconnect with your breath, perhaps taking a few deep breaths, conscious breaths. Relax your shoulders, relax your limbs, relax the muscles in the face. Release any grip you may have in the jaw. And just feel the weight of the bones sinking into the mat. Lovely. And then when we're ready to, we'll start taking a few gentle movements just to wake up the extremities of the body. So we'll start drawing circles with our ankles. Waking up the ankle joints. And then perhaps we can add the wrists as well. So circling the wrists, circling the ankles in one direction, and then perhaps we'll reverse the direction of the circles. Gently waking up our joints. Perhaps you can also take the head into that movement, perhaps turning the head from side to side. Lovely. And then we'll gently slow down and come to stillness. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the knees into the chest. And let's give our knees a nice big hug. Beautiful. Then we'll bring our right hand to our right knee, left hand to the left knee, and we'll start drawing circles with the knees. So we'll send the knees away from us, and then we'll open them wide, and then bring them back into the chest. And let's carry on with a few more like this. And the idea here is to really warm up the hip joints as if you were applying WD-40 to your hip joints. Lovely. Take one more circle in this direction, and then we'll move to the opposite direction. So opening the knees wide, bringing them together, and then into the chest. Open wide. One more like this. And then bring the knees into the chest. Nice big hug. And then we'll release the arms by our sides, and we'll gently unravel the legs and bring them up towards the ceiling. So we're lengthening the legs, and the legs will be attached to each other, so as if we were forming one big leg. And what we'll do, we'll start drawing circles clockwise with our toes. And we'll start small, small clockwise circles. And then the idea is that we want those circles to become larger and larger. And go as does you feel comfortable with. The idea is that the larger the circle, the more work we will be doing with our abs. Lovely. And then let's work towards making those circles smaller and smaller again, so that then we come back to where we started. Lovely. Then come to stillness when you're there, and we'll just bring the knees into the chest for a moment. Just for a small pause. Here, breathe deeply. And then we'll bring the legs back up towards the ceiling. And we'll do the same, but this time anti-clockwise. So starting small with your circles. And then getting larger and larger. As big as you feel you want to go. Lovely. And then start making those circles smaller and smaller so that you come back to your starting point. Beautiful. And then we'll lower the knees into the chest. We'll place our hands on the backs of the thighs, and we'll start rolling up and down a few times to wake up the spine here and slowly gather momentum so that eventually on our next roll we'll come up and into all fours. Make your way to hands and knees, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Spread your fingers nice and wide, and we'll start taking some very free movements here with the spine. So, you know, it could be a figure of 8, could be a circle, you know, whatever feels good. And you can close the eyes. It's more about how it feels than how it looks here. Again, the idea is to start waking up the spine, removing any stiffness from the body. Lovely. And then eventually, you know, the movement can start morphing into a cat-cow. So arching the spine and then doming the back. Inhale, arching the spine, shining the chest forward. Exhale, reversing the movement, doming the back, dropping the head. And carry on like this with a few cat-cows in your own time, moving mindfully. Perhaps pausing if you reach a point that is particularly tight or sticky. Beautiful. And then we'll meet back in our neutral tabletop. And just for a moment, we'll open our knees nice and wide and come down to extended child's pose. Really reaching the arms forward, resting the forehead on the mat. Spine is nice and long. And feel your breath, feel that you're breathing into the back body. Beautiful. And then we'll walk our hands over towards the right. So the idea here is that we want a lovely stretch in the left-hand side of the body. And if you want to intensify the stretch, you can also bring your right hand and take hold of the left wrist and pull the wrist towards the right, so that you're intensifying the stretch in the left-hand side of the body. Breathing deeply. Lovely, and then we'll very slowly start walking our hands back to center, and then gently over towards the left. Lovely stretch in the right hand side of the body. And if you did so on the other side, you can now grab hold of the right wrist and give it a little tug, so that you're intensifying that stretch. Beautiful. And then we'll walk the hands back to center and make your way back into all fours. Lovely. And we'll prepare to come up into downward dog. So we'll spread our fingers nice and wide, hands a bit further forward compared to the shoulders. We'll tuck all 10 toes. Inhale, and on an exhale, we'll peel the knees up off the mat, bringing the hips to the sky. Lovely. Perhaps walking the dog, bending one knee and then the other. Spine is nice and long here. Beautiful. And then if you're walking the dog, come to stillness. We'll inhale, we'll ripple forwards into high plank. Beautiful. Exhale, come back to dog. One more time, building heat into the body. We'll inhale, ripple forwards, high plank, long line of energy. Exhale, back to downward dog. One last time, we'll inhale, ripple forwards, high plank, building strength in the arms. Exhale, back to down dog. Lovely. And then we'll walk the feet to meet the hands at the front of the mat. And we'll just hang here for a moment in our forward fold. So the head is loose, neck is loose. And if you want to work on your hamstrings a bit more here, keep the feet where they are, but bend one knee and then the other. A bit like you do when you're walking the dog. And you'll feel a lovely stretch in the hamstrings. It's a bit as if you were walking on the spot, but without moving the feet. Lovely. And then when you're ready to, very slowly and mindfully, we'll roll all the way up to standing. Very last thing to come up will be the head. Breathing deeply. And just taking a few moments to adjust to being upright. And perhaps we'll inhale, we'll roll the shoulders a few times. Lovely. Beautiful. Great. So next we'll open our legs nice and wide on our mat. So we'll be facing sideways. The feet will be parallel with the short edge of the mat. We'll bring our hands to our hips, and again we'll do a bit of movement to release the hamstring. So we'll bend the right knee, extend the left, and then we'll bring it over towards the other side. So this time bending the left knee, extending the right. And let's take that a few times, from left to right, right to left, working towards loosening up the legs and the hamstrings. Lovely. And then let's come back up to center, long legs, and we'll work towards our warrior two. So we'll pivot the left foot so that it's facing the front of the mat. Right foot will come in at around 45 degrees, so roughly 1 or 2 o'clock. Legs are nice and strong, nice and straight. We'll bring our hands to prayer in front of heart center. Inhale deeply, and then on an exhale, we'll imagine we're pushing 2 walls away from us. And we'll bend the left knee, coming into warrior two. Inhale, we'll bring everything back to center. Hands back into prayer, lengthening the legs. Exhale, push the walls away, bending the left leg. Inhale, everything back to center, lengthen the leg, hands back to prayer. Exhale, push the walls away. Inhale, everything back to center again. And one last time, we'll push the walls away. Lovely. And then we'll stay here in our warrior two. Nice 90-degree angle with our left leg, arms nice and wide, reaching in opposite directions, and our gaze along our left middle finger. Beautiful. Breathing deeply, and feel the fire building up in the legs. Lovely. One more deep breath here. And then we'll lower the right hand down to the right thigh. Left palm facing up towards the ceiling. So we pivot the left palm. Inhale, sweep the left arm up and over. Reverse warrior. So the left leg stays nice and bent, but we're reaching up and over with the arm, and there's a lovely stretch in the left-hand side of the body. One more breath here. Beautiful, and then we'll release, lengthen the legs, and bring the hands to our hips. And then let's pivot the feet so that we're back in that starting position with the feet parallel to the short edges of the mat. We'll interlace our hands behind our back, so the fist is resting on the lower back. Inhale, and on an exhale, we'll hinge at the hips and fold forward. Forward fold. Beautiful. Releasing the head, the neck. And we can also extend our arms up and over so that our fist is coming up and over our head, really giving a lovely stretch to our upper back and our shoulders here. Lovely. Breathing here. And then we'll gently bring the fist back down to the lower back and slowly start unraveling, coming back up to center. Beautiful. And let's just come to stand straight, so we'll bring the legs back together and perhaps give everything a nice shake here. Beautiful, well done. And we'll do the same now on the other side. So what you can do is turn around so that you're facing the opposite side of the mat. Open the legs nice and wide, as we did before. And then we'll pivot the right foot now so that it's facing the front of the mat. Left foot comes in at around 45 degrees, so roughly 10, 11 o'clock. Legs are nice and straight, nice and strong. Hands coming to prayer at heart center. Inhale deeply, exhale, we'll push the walls away and bend the right leg. Inhale, bring everything back to center, lengthening the right leg. Exhale, push the walls away. Inhale, everything back to center. Exhale, push the walls away. One last time, we gather everything back to center. And then push the walls away. And there we stay in our warrior two. Nice bend in the right knee. Arms are nice and straight, pulling you in opposite directions. Gaze along the right middle finger. And don't forget to breathe. Lovely. And then we'll lower the left hand towards the back of the left thigh. Turn the right palm up towards the ceiling and then inhale. Sweep the arm up and over. Reverse warrior. Beautiful. And keep a lovely bend in the right knee. Lovely. And then we'll lower the arm. We'll lengthen the front leg and pivot the feet so that they're parallel to the short edges of the mat. We'll bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, hinge forwards, forward fold. And this time the hands can either be on the mat or perhaps grab hold of the shins or the ankles. Whatever feels more accessible right now. Breathing deeply, letting everything go. Lovely. And then we'll walk our hands towards the front of the mat. And we'll gently pivot the feet so we're sort of in a low lunge pose. Plant the hands into the mat and step back to downward dog here. Lovely. Take any final movements you would like to take in your dog. Perhaps walking the dog again, or perhaps a vinyasa if it's in your practice. And then with no rush, when you're ready to, we'll all meet in an extended child's pose. So no rush whenever you get there. And in your child's pose, just let the practice wash over you. Breathe into the back body. And take this moment to reconnect with your breath. Beautiful. And then we'll gently walk the hands back to the knees, coming into an upright position. And we'll take one last pose today. We'll take pigeon pose. which will really open up your hips further, as we've been doing a lot of hip opening. So we'll come into all fours. We'll pick up the right knee and bring it to the back of the right wrist. Then we'll pivot the right foot so that it's in front of the left knee. Tuck the toes of the left foot and we'll extend the left leg backwards, so as long as we can on the mat. So gently inching that left leg as long as you can on the mat. And then when you've reached that length, you can release the toes. And either you stay nice and upright like this, or you can release down to your forearms. Just relax the head, the neck. And breathe into the hip. It's quite a strong pose. And if this doesn't suit you and is painful in your knee, you can take a supine pigeon instead. So that's lying on your back, bringing your right leg into a figure of 4, and feeding the hands through and grabbing hold of either your left thigh or shin. So that's the supine alternative if classic pigeon isn't working for you. Okay. Lovely. So just a few more breaths here. And then we'll come back onto our hands and bring our left knee back towards center and just make your way back to all fours very gently, moving mindfully here. And then we'll do the same on the opposite side. We'll pick up the left knee, bring it to the back of the left wrist, pivot the foot so that the left foot is in front of the right knee, and then tucking the right toes, we'll start lengthening the right leg, nice and long on the mat. Then we'll release the toes when we have that length in the right leg, and then either staying upright or releasing onto the forearms. Breathing here. Beautiful. And then when you're ready to, we can very gently make our way back up. And this time we can just roll onto our buttock, onto our left hip and thigh, and bring our right leg over, swing it over, and we should find ourselves more or less in a cross-legged position. So find a way, perhaps just rock from side to side to find a comfortable pose. Lovely, sitting up nice and upright, hands on our knees. And let's take 3 last very conscious cleansing breaths. So we'll inhale through the nose, bringing the shoulders up to the ears, and then open the mouth and release everything on the side. One more time, inhale, shoulders up to the ears, and then let everything go. Last time, inhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Shoulders up to the ears and then release. Nice loud sigh. And then gently we'll inhale, we'll sweep the arms up towards the sky, welcoming this new day, bringing the hands to prayer, and then releasing the prayer to the forehead for kind thoughts, down to the mouth for kind words, and down to heart center for kind actions. And we'll bow together to seal the practice. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Thank you.